Hi, hey guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Allie Hively back with us this week. Thank you so much for joining us, Allie. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. I'm good. Surviving this super cold Arctic blast this week. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, I know. We've had 2 days of no school and
Yeah.
everything's crazy here too.
It's nuts. Well, I'm so excited to have you back on and just sharing some other helpful tips with us this week. And I know last week was awesome. You were able to share your top tips for creating healthy habits, and that was extremely helpful. I know that I'm always trying to just get that, across with my individual clients and then myself too, just sticking with them and not trying to fall in and out of that, habit cycle. So yeah, I'm just really excited to have you back this week and kind of diving into, I would say like maybe the next step after thinking about like what habits you want to create and what that looks like is really the awareness around it, right? So awareness around the habits and any form it could be, whether it's health related or if it's personal or if it's career oriented, whatever that looks like. That next step, is usually creating some type of awareness around what you're trying to manifest. Yeah, so I'm really excited. Can you kind of just dive in and just like share a little bit about what that looks like on your end and how we can just become more aware of our goals, what we want for our bodies, and then we'll kind of dive in a little bit more to the food side, but just maybe just like a general overview so that everyone can kind of put that into place with, like I said, whatever they're looking for, if it's like travel goals or career, health, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're so aligned on this because awareness is like the biggest thing, especially at the beginning. So, when
Yeah.
you're thinking of all the things that you do and what you're doing, and especially focusing on your wellness, then getting really clear on like what's actually happening versus like kind of what you think is happening is going to be so important.
Yeah.
So the first thing I have my clients do, it sounds similar to how you guys start, is really taking a minute and just writing it all down. So I know it sounds crazy, but when it comes to nutrition, so often we're conditioned to just like have a bite of this and that and really pay no attention to what we're doing and then
Yeah.
how we feel about it, whether we are really frustrated with ourselves, which leads to like negative thinking and just like really not feeling good about that, or also not actually physically feeling well, like having those digestive issues and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the first thing I would say when it comes to awareness is to find a way that feels really good to make those notes. And so, I encourage my clients to do paper and pencil because I think like there is a great connection with writing. And like if you're writing, then you're kind of just like feeling into it a little bit more than if we're on automatic typing. But that being said, it matters more that you do it than how you do it.
Yeah.
So if like the easiest way is to type in your notes section or use the phone, then getting really clear and creating that awareness on the food journal, whatever way is best for you, it's gonna be ideal. And also knowing like you don't have to stick to the same way. So some people get really they think like, okay, I'm going to buy this really cute notebook and I'm going to write it all down. And then they're 2 days in and they didn't do that. And so they think like, just forget it. And it's like, no, just pick up your phone. Like, don't
Yeah.
just go from there. Like, it doesn't all have to be together. The awareness is the most important part. And so how you make that happen is really up to you. And what I encourage my clients to do is not use a calorie counting app. So, people like MyFitnessPal, they've used it before, and I like it too. It's good for what its purpose is. But when it
Yeah.
comes to creating that awareness, I actually think it like takes awareness away. And
Really?
you type in all these things that you're doing, and you spend a lot of time looking for the exact brand and the exact amount and figuring out all these
Yeah.
things. And it almost distracts you from yourself, which is what you need to be tuning into to
Mhm.
actually make a long-term change. So especially in like what we're doing when we're talking about helping people change to feel better or helping them change their life in a big picture way, then using the app is almost like a crutch because you go in and it prejudges you. So as soon as you type that one extra thing, it turns red and it's like, ooh, you're bad. and you all of a sudden feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in the red. So it either makes you lie about it, or it makes you, not want to do it, or it's an easy way to like kind of shut yourself off from it. So I kind of discourage those apps for this purpose. I mean, of course that they serve other purposes, which is great. But like for the purpose of doing a food journal for a week or two to really create the awareness around how your body feels, what made you eat the food, and really what it was, then I think like paper and pencil or an app that's just a typing app on your phone is going to be ideal. So that's
awesome. Yeah, that's so encouraging. I love hearing about the paper and pencil. I feel like that's so nice to kind of go back to those roots. I know so many of us are just on our phones all the time, and sometimes it is so much easier, but I love what your reasoning behind that. I think that's really important. And that's so great about the MyFitnessPal too, because I've totally been there. Like I've used it, and there's times where, you're like, this is great. I love seeing, my macros in line or whatever, but it almost comes down to where it's like a robotic type of feeling. And you almost become numb to like what you're eating. You're just like, I just have to plug it in, and you kind of get crazy with all of that. So that is so cool. I feel like I just had an aha moment myself with that. So that's awesome. I'm glad that you said that. I think that'll be super helpful for all my clients, that are doing that. That's huge. So do you have I'm sorry, I didn't know if there was anything else with that awareness, but I mean, those are two great ones. Did you have another one that you wanted to share, or we can?
Yeah. So I think pick the best way to write it, pick the best way that feels good, and then really focus on not worrying if it doesn't like stay that way for the whole 5 days or the whole 2 weeks or however you're doing it. And then really focus on like the why, like why did you eat this? And then I know you really work with your clients on how did you feel after, but also what prompted you to do what you did. So, were you tired? Were you bored? Were you looking for like comfort, or were you like served something? So kind of making those notations also in the journal are so helpful, because then when you tie it back to the feeling, it's like if you weren't hungry and you were trying to distract yourself or you were bored, then that might be a reason why you felt extra bloated, because you actually were full, and you on top of eating. So really creating that, like, why did I eat? Because I was hungry, because it was lunchtime, or because it was 10 o'clock and I just got this, sad news and I wanted whatever. So that is a huge thing. And then I also think, looking for the bright spots on your own. So putting your own detective hat on, like, this is not a judgment situation. If you're not aware of what you're doing and you can't like own up to what's happening, you're never going to be able to change it. And so as soon as you can take a deep breath and say, like, this is an exploration, like I am just looking into what's happening so I can get a better idea of how I can make some changes to it. Not this all or nothing thing, but just like start moving forward in the right direction, not like kind of going through the same patterns that are keeping you stuck or not getting you anywhere. So if you can take a deep breath and like put that hat on, like, this is an exploration. Nobody is going to judge me. I'm just going to learn something from this. And that is going to be helpful because, overall, we're trained to think negative. So as soon as we write something down, like chocolate, you're like, oh, that's so bad. And you find yourself with these negative thoughts. But if you look for a day when you felt great, you had good energy, you didn't have these cravings, understanding, like, why did that happen? So was it because you were really prepared? Was it because you avoided some things that you're trying to avoid? Was it because you got really good sleep? Was it because you kept your mindset in like a very positive place all day? Is that part of why it went well? But look, what made it go well? And then how can you do more of those days that went well? So using your food journal to train yourself to look for the positive, not just the negative, is going to be hugely important. Like if you're trying to track a digestive issue and you notice a couple meals that you don't have them, look very closely at those, not just the ones that do cause it, and figure out, like, how can you do more of those? So I think training yourself to let go of the judgment that feels that we've always had when it comes to food journaling, and really deep dive into, like, okay, this is a tool to help me learn more about myself, and that's it. It's just a tool. It's nothing more. Like, I'm not turning in, I don't get a grade on it. And so if I want to cheat and lie, then that is not going to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so kind of owning up to that like feeling and just embracing it as a tool.
I
So
love that. Yeah, that's so huge. And I tell my clients that same thing too. It's like, if you want to cheat or lie or make something up, like, that's only on you, like, I'm totally, there's no judgment here. It's simply just to, exactly what you're doing, which is to get to the root of all of this. But I love all of those tips are so incredibly helpful. And I think the why is actually extremely important. And I don't typically ask my clients to write that down, but I'm definitely going to start from here on out, because I think that's just so true, is seeing that pattern, for them, whether, just like you said, if it's stress eating or, depression, or it's joy. I mean, it could be any of them. So yeah, I think just finding a pattern there, but also, yeah, remembering to give yourself grace and to find that light on that food journal, or on any type of journaling that you're doing, just not focusing on, all the bad things that happened to me that day or that week, but really also showcasing and giving gratitude to, something that happened. And that is one of the things that I talk about too, is doing a gratitude journal, and really trying to start, every day with that mindset, because it'll totally shift, your perspective for the rest of the day. So I think that's super important, finding that, especially in the food journal. Those are great. I love those so much. That was like incredibly insightful. I love that. That's awesome.
no,
I think it's too, yeah, and I think it's so good because it's like the natural progression, of what we've kind of started here, which again is like the habits. And then let's become aware of what we're doing now, so that we can really solidify those habits in our daily life, so that eventually they won't be habits, and they're just going to be actions that we do every day, and we don't have to think about them. And I think, yeah, it's just such a nice flow, that it has to it all. And it just makes sense, like you can see it as a big picture, and you can see it narrowed down, and it all just flows really nicely together. So I'm just, yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of those. I'm like making mental notes of what I want, my future clients to do, because I love all those suggestions. That was so helpful.
yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I think, if you ever need just a reset, anybody, just taking a week to do that food journaling exercise and just walk through, like, why am I eating this? How do I feel after? What did I have? It's a great, just like, awareness reset. So, and you can just pick up 5 days anywhere to do it,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, you don't have to start on a Sunday or on a Monday. Like, yeah, you want to start Friday, do it. Like, start Friday, do whatever day you feel like starting it. But I love, that's such a great idea too, is the idea of like getting into a reset, the mind body reset, and understanding like, why are we eating at these times, or eating these different foods, and drinking these different things, like, what is the why behind all of that? I think that's so huge. So that's awesome. That's so great. And I want to just remind our viewers too, that if you do have any suggestions or topics that you want Allie to specifically speak on, please let us know, because we love, we want to cater this to you. I'm certainly learning a ton, but if there's specific things that you really want to know about any of the topics that we've already covered, and certain things that we are going to cover, but certain just about healthy habit inflammation, and just, yeah, all of these things around awareness, understanding how to just really cultivate this really healthy mind-body experience. Allie can definitely speak to all of those much better than I can. So we'd love, yeah, let us know, send me a DM, or you can comment below. And we can always put Allie's website on here too, so that if you guys do want to know, more about her and the services she offers, definitely reach out to her, and we'll have that all down below, so you can do that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. And then we'll be back hopefully next week. So some more topics and some good discussion. So thank you again for sharing all of that.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, see you guys. Thank you.
Bye.